welcome back to IROC Business Entrepreneur Series. I am your host, Corey Fonville Foster, and I am so excited to have the amazing Shenelle DuBose from Educators Moving On here with me on tonight. Hi, Shenelle.
Hi, Corey. Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited. I have been talking with you for, I feel like months now. We've worked together on some different things, but I'm super excited because I feel like have filled a void, right? Especially during COVID, we have teachers that are absolutely losing their minds right now, dealing with, the students, dealing with administrators, dealing with parents, and they need you. I'm not going to give too many secrets away. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but you have found a home in this era and this time, and I definitely want my audience to get to hear all about that because I promise somebody's going to be like, I need her in my life. So Shenelle, definitely introduce yourself. Tell the people who is Miss Shenelle DuBose.
All right. Well, I am Shenelle DuBose. Again, thank you for having me. I am a former educator. I was in the public school system for 17 years. I absolutely love my job. I love teaching. I love working with students. I love working with parents in the community. I was also an administrator for the last 5 years. But it got to a point where that's not the way I wanted to spend my time. And so each day I would go, I was doing a good job, things were going well, but I was spending so much of my time at work, so much of my energy. Everything was work, 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 work. Well, I have 3 boys at home. I have a husband at home, and I have 2 dogs. We can't forget about these dogs over here. And, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I have 13 nieces and nephews, and it's my goal in life to be the favorite aunt. I'm just saying. And so, I was spending more and more time. The demands continued to grow. The number of tasks continued to increase. And it just seemed like I could never get ahead of the ball. And I didn't want to do it anymore. But I had invested too much. I have a doctorate degree. I've spent a lot of money on education. I've been to so many PDs, so many trainings. I'm great in curriculum and development, instructional design. Like I know my stuff in education, but I didn't want to start over. So I thought, what is it that what can I do to continue to work in education without having to start a new career or start from scratch? And so I started an educational consulting company. I had been thinking about it for a while, but whenever you ask anyone, no one is willing to share, give you any information or any real tangible steps to help you to get started. And so I did all of the heavy lifting, all of the heavy weight. I made all of the mistakes, learned all of the lessons, paid all of the money. And I finally got it up and going and turned it into a great success. And I said, once I got going, it wasn't as hard as people made it sound. Like every time I would bring in professional developers to do a workshop or a training for my staff, I would make it a point to say to them, so tell me a little bit about your business. Can you tell me how you got started? Can you give me a piece of advice? I'd love to start a consulting business. And they give me stuff like, oh, well, you just got to go for it. Oh, well, just put the work in. And that wasn't really doing anything for me. And so once I did the work and, got everything going, I created a blueprint for it because once I got going, the thing that I realized was, it's not that you don't know what to do. You don't know the order. You have the pieces, they're just not in the right place. So it's like having a big puzzle and all of the pieces are everywhere and you got to take the pieces and put them in the right place. And so once I did that, I said, there's a lot of educators out here who are probably feeling the way I was feeling because we make this commitment to ourselves and to our families at 5 and 6 years old, 9 and 10 years old. And then we stick to it even when we've changed our mind. I had changed my mind really about 12 years in. And it was really, if I'm being honest, it was really at year 8 of teaching that I was tired. And that's when I started going back, getting additional degrees to kind of, you know, keep me motivated, give me something else to do. But then at year 12, I had all the degrees. I had all the stuff. I had everything. I'm even a national board certified teacher, and there's only 1% of teachers in the world who have national board certification, because you just try to do things to keep you in the groove and to keep you interested. And so I said, there are other teachers who are feeling this. I know I'm not alone in this. I know that there are other teachers who are great at what they do, but they just don't want to do it anymore. They want to spend their time a different way. Their value system has shifted. They've gotten older, and they don't want to sit back and wait until retirement. That's literally what I was doing. I was at year 17 and I was saying, Lord, just let me make it 8 more years. In my state, it was 25 and out. You can do 25 and out and you get a reduced pension, or you can do 30 years and get the full pension. Well, I was taking the reduced. I said, Lord, just let me make the 8 and I'm gonna go on and come on out of here. But I wasn't gonna make the 8. Like, it wasn't gonna happen. I would pull up at the school and I would sit in the parking lot and I would just stare at the building and I would be having conversations with myself. I would say, Shenelle, okay, just put the smile on your face. You got to be nice. If nobody in here did anything to you, just be nice to the people. You love the children because the children did nothing. Go in there and do your job and it's going to be okay. And I told myself this every day until one day I decided you shouldn't have to pep talk yourself to do the thing that you do every day that takes up the most time in your life. And so I know that I felt like there were other women who were feeling that way. I wasn't sure, but I was like, I think it's some other teachers out here who are going through this. And so once I started really consulting and getting into schools and my caseload really picked up, I was doing more conversation about how to become a consultant than I was about problem-based learning and STEM. You know, the teachers will pull me to the side and they say, how did you get to do this? And the thing that I didn't want to do was to make them feel the way the other consultants made me feel. And so I would go to lunch with them. I would give them my cell phone number. I would have prolonged conversations with them, but it just wasn't enough time in the day. And so that's how I got going. I wanted to move to a different dream and I really didn't know how, but once I figured it out, I wanted to help other women, educators, do it for themselves too.
Wow. The first thing I want to say is 25 and out sounds like prison. I just want to tell you, I can picture you in your car like, Lord, just give me the strength. Just one more day, taking it one day at a time. It sounds like, Jill, did you get rec time? But you know what, I think about that like as a parent, because I've told you before, I homeschool, and one of the things that we encountered were teachers that definitely were, suffering from burnout, teachers who didn't have enough support in the classroom, teachers who were fresh out of school and like, what did I get myself into? And I could only imagine having to go to work every morning and saying 25 and out. Like 25 years, that is a long time. And it's sad because I think that most people go into teaching knowing that, especially in the US, you're not going to make a ton of money. So if you're not going to make a ton of money, you're still going to pursue this. Like you said, get the degree upon the degree upon the degree. You're going there because you want to have an impact. You want to affect change. You want to, feed these young minds and make them realize anything is possible. And then to get in there and realize, oh no, it's sad. We definitely, we live in America where we have, I think, a good ability to have education, right? There are places, we have to be honest, there are places where they don't have the education we do. But I think we also, on the other hand, have to realize that we have some areas of improvement that, in our education system. So I'm glad that you found a place to, get away from, escape that 25 and out, because I can't imagine seeing the light just being faded from your eyes as you walked into the building every day, having to put on that smile, right? And show up for the students, but really know your heart is just not like you just don't want to be there anymore. Right. So I'm glad you found a place outside of that. But not only did you go out and say, like you said, I'm going to learn everything, I'm going to build this consulting group or this consultant thing where I can go into schools and educate the administrators and educate the teachers. But you took it a step further and said, I'm going to also teach other people how to make their own professional development courses and be able to get out of that cycle of having to put on that smile and go in those classrooms. So I think you're doing an amazing job. That's what I said before. She found a spot. She found a niche and she was like, I can help people. And I think that's great because the impact you're making now is probably way bigger than the impact you could have made just being in the classroom or being in administration in a school building. You were touching, quite a few people, but now you can touch generations. So I think that's what people have to realize when they step out of the classroom. It can be scary. We know you want to teach. We know you want to have it, like I want to help the children. We get it. But there is more than one way to do just that. So I do want to ask you a little bit about the people you help. So your target audience, I'm assuming they're educators, but do they have to be teachers? Do they have to have like a teacher's degree? What kind of people work with educators moving on?
So my target audience are typically female educators in some capacity in the school system. So not all are teachers. Some of them are educational assistants. Some are counselors. I work with dean of students, people who are in higher ed. So it's just that educational background, we make that commitment so early in life that we're going to be teachers and it leads us down this path. But the particular group that I work with, these are normally highly talented, highly gifted, very resourceful educators, and they know their stuff. They are doing great at their jobs. Like their bosses and principals and superintendents, they don't want to lose these people. They want to keep them. They're going to do whatever they need to do to try to keep them there. If they need to give them a promotion or move them to a different building, all of those things were offered to me. But that's not where your heart is. And so people who are, implementers, you don't need someone riding your back to make you do what needs to be done. People who are goal setters and high achievers, you got to be able to stand in the fact that I like to achieve high. Now I'm talking about high achievers and not overachievers. And there's a difference. And so, working in consulting, a lot of it is your specialty area, like you're a specialist, and you can't be a specialist if you don't know what you specialize in, or if you're not willing to be able to say, this is what I'm good at. And I call it your zone of genius. And see, when you're working in your zone of genius, you don't have to make stuff up. When I'm doing my professional developments, when I'm working with my principals, I don't have to make anything up. Whatever they ask me, I can answer it. And if I don't know it, I can say, I haven't had that experience, but I can check into it. I can ask a couple of people and I can let you know. But they are normally high achievers, educators who are really good in their craft, and they have a different dream. And sometimes we have a different dream in our hearts and we don't know how to pursue the dream, because what do you do when you get an inclination? It's not even something that's tangible. It's a feeling. It's something in your stomach, something in your heart, and something in your head that's telling you that you don't belong here anymore. You shouldn't be here, but it doesn't tell you where to go. So do you go to another school district? And when you go to the other school district, it's the same thing, just in a different color. And so the women, they typically know that it's not in the school system, but they have not quite visualized where it's at.
Yeah, I think it happens like that for a lot of people, especially people who've worked in a certain field and done the work, gotten the degrees, and then one day you sit down and say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this. I know me, when I was in the medical field, I thought I was happy, and then one day I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of listening to doctors tell me what to do. And it was that moment. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do something different. Again, that zone of genius. What do I really want to do? What am I really passionate about? What can I picture myself doing for 25 more years? You know, that's the key. I think a lot of people, whether you're in education or not, that's universal. You get those moments where you think you knew what you wanted, and then you just realize one day, like, oh man, I don't want this anymore. Sometimes that comes with age, sometimes that comes with knowledge, and then sometimes you just outgrow a thing, right? You like the little kids, you were playing with the kindergartners, you love pasting things and having fun and teaching ABCs and one, two, threes, and then one day you wake up and say, I want to hang with some adults. It happens because you see all the little, the bright-eyed, fresh out of college teachers that get to play with the little kids. They put on the post on social media, like, look at my classroom, look at the things I bought for my class. And then like you see the teachers who've been there for a long time, like, y'all pray for me, school's about to start, I'll see you during winter break. It's like that shift. So I think that what you're saying is so real, right? People don't want to admit it because of course, being a teacher is a gift, right? You've been gifted these talents. You can work with kids, and these are great teachers. Like you said, these aren't slouches. These are great teachers. These are our favorites, right? Everybody can go back and say, "Oh my gosh, I love this teacher." Like my favorite teacher was Miss Banks. She taught biology. I was so sad when she retired, and I'm not even in school anymore. I was like, but the kids need you. And I'm sure she was thinking 25 and out, 25 and out. But yeah, it's like, these are great people, but at some point they have to move on to something else and make an impact in a different way. So I like that. We've talked a little bit about a few hurdles. You had your hurdle already, with you kind of realizing this isn't for me. But what other hurdles have you personally encountered, or have some of your clients encountered that you want to share that maybe we could benefit from their stories?
Well, one of the huge hurdles that particularly females, and it's a reason why I work with females. So there are men in education, but if you notice, like men in any field, when they are going to something else, they come home and they say, honey, I quit my job today. I'm not going back to that job. I can tell you right now, I was married and I think we may have been 2 or 3 years into the marriage, and my husband came in and said, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going back there. And I was like, well, huh? What?
Yes.
And he meant that. Like he was serious about that. He didn't ask for my permission. He wasn't looking for a suggestion, and he wasn't coming to me for a recommendation. And I noticed about men how when they know that it's something that they need to do, or something that is not fulfilling them, or that doesn't align with their value system, whether the value system makes sense or not, they are going to move forward. But we as women, the hurdle that we oftentimes will have to overcome is that our upbringing, tradition, family, and society has taught us that we have to put everyone else before ourselves. We need to take care of the kids. We need to take care of the husband. We need to take care of our parents. We need to take care of the house. We got to take care of everybody else. Don't take care of yourself, because if you tend to yourself, now you are selfish. And so we will have a dream. We will put it on the back burner. We will take a dream that somebody else told us to have, because that's what our mama wanted us to do. And we typically love our moms. And so that's a huge hurdle, to be able to put yourself first. And especially when we have children, the first thing we think about is, I got to keep a roof over my kids' heads. And so a lot of the mindset work that has to happen around who you are and what you value and what you bring to the table, and just helping the women to understand that you don't need permission. You don't need permission. You got permission when the dream was put inside your heart. Where did you think it came from? What did you think it was there for? That was the permission, and that all you need to do is move forward. And so helping the ladies to understand that the best way to take care of your kids is to take care of their mother. If you're not taking care of the mother, the kid's not going to be taken care of anyway, because you're showing them what it's like to live in misery. You're showing them what it's like to show up at a job every day that you hate. And even if you don't hate it, you don't want to be there, you're not happy, you're not satisfied, they can see all of that. And so I never wanted my boys to see that. I wanted my boys to know that you can be happy, you can be fulfilled, that there is abundance in this life, that you get to manifest the life of your dreams. And they saw this all of my life. Like every dream that I had, I pursued. And when this went out of my heart, I was like, I got to fix this. This is not where it's supposed to be. But women have that hurdle of, you know, putting ourselves on the back burner. And then we'll say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and finish out this 25. And then I'll do that after that. Well, who's guaranteeing us the 25? Like, there is no, statute of limitations that says you get the 25, first of all. And so that's the first hurdle. And then the second hurdle is that extreme fear. Like, we're all scared. Like, I don't know anybody who does anything big who isn't scared. And sometimes we think that it's just us. Like, I'm scared, and because I'm scared, I shouldn't do it. And so I help the educators to understand, and this is for anybody who's trying to do anything. Your body was designed to keep you safe. Your body was designed to keep you in your comfort zone. And so when you try to move anything, when anything happens that takes you out of your comfort zone or that makes you uncomfortable, your body's biological system will make you aware that you are not in a safe zone. This is uncomfortable. Get me back to comfort. It's no different than when you get into an elevator with a group of men and you're the only female. Your body says something. When you go out to your car and strangers are walking up and it's pitch dark outside, your body does some stuff. It's the exact same thing. You are trying to leave a secure, stable job that pays your bills every 2 weeks, every month, whatever the pay period is, to something that is unknown, that you have no control over that. Your body knows that. Your body's like, boop, 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 back up, let's not do this. And it's your job to recognize it and to own it and say, okay, I'm scared. And then you do it scared. That is my advice to you. You do it scared. And you did everything else scared. When you had your first child, had you had a child before? Because I didn't have one, and I didn't know what to expect when they said that water was going to break. I did it scared. When I got married, I did it scared. I was the first generation college graduate. When I stepped onto that college campus, that was the biggest thing that I had ever seen in my life. I was scared to death, and I put one foot in front of the other, and I did it scared. When I bought my first home, you sign a 30-year, which is absolutely crazy. Anyway, you sign a 30-year mortgage note to say, I'm gonna make this payment to you for the next 30 years. 30 years. Like, I think it's the most ridiculous thing. But we sign it. Where is the guarantee that we're gonna have a job, that we're gonna pay? We do it scared. We do it. And in those cases, we do it happy now, don't we? We do it celebrating 30 years of payments that we don't even know if we're gonna be able to make. So that is it's the fear, and you need to do it scared.
Wow, that was a word, y'all. I was sitting here like taking notes. Fear, your mindset, and that feeling of selfishness. Honey, I understand that. I remember when I had my son, and before that, if I didn't like a job, I didn't give no 2 weeks notice. Go ahead, send me my last check. I'll see you later. I remember I got hired for a job, worked the orientation, and never went back. Did not care. Once I had my son, I was like, well, I guess I have to get up this morning and go again. I don't like my boss, but I'm gonna have to go. I actually remember being in my car trying to fight a panic attack because I hated my job so much. But I knew bills had to get paid. You want to make sure food is in your child's mouth. And it's not to say that men aren't helpful, but women, for some reason, like you said, just kind of put the world on our shoulders and say, if I don't do it, it may not happen. And so we don't have that kind of luxury of just making these you know, random choices or those choices like, oh, I just feel like I want to do this. Whereas, like you said, a man could be like, I ain't dealing with that boss no more. I ain't going back. It is what it is. And it's like women are like, well, I'm just gonna see how long I can hold out. Just see how long I can make it. You telling your girlfriend like, girl, I don't know how long, but I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna go in Monday, but pray for me. I'm gonna see how many sick days I have because I'm gonna use them up. I'm gonna use them up. And it's sad. It's so sad. But I think what you said, look, my eyes are watering just thinking about it. But I think what you said is so true, not just to educators but to women in general. That feeling of I can't go for my dreams because I have to, like, that's how we feel, right? I have to work this job, I have to have a stable something for my kids. I don't have the luxury of maybe failing, right? I don't have that luxury. This is it. You know, this is, I made my bed, I'm gonna have to sleep in it. You know, that's all those things that pop into our minds. And sometimes we have to, like you said, put ourselves first. I remember one year I got burned out and my mentor was saying, Corey, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
You can't. And because I was just a pouring and a pouring. And then next thing you know, I was in a full drought. I could not help anyone. People were like, well, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you help me? I ain't got nothing for you. I am done. You know what I mean? I am spent. And that's what happens to us, right? We're these amazing creatures. Women are so amazing. We can multitask. We can have the kids and cook the dinner and work a job and do all the things. We're just so amazing. But eventually, we're gonna burn ourselves, like burn at all the ends, and we're just gonna be done. And
Yep.
so it's so important that we do realize that we are worth it, right? We are worth investing in, we are worth believing in, and we are worth putting ourselves first, like you said. And so I think, like you said, do it scared, go out there. There are no guarantees in life. You know, there are none, like you said, but we're worth it. We need to live our one life to the fullest as well. You know, we can't just say, well, you know, hey kids, do it. We have to show them. We have to lead by
Right.
example. So I love what you said. I'm out here trying to, like, I was like, oh yes, preach, preach. I love it. So look, you've given so much, but I'm still gonna ask for more because most of my audience is new entrepreneurs. So I would say, besides do it scared, what is one tip you have for someone just entering the game, whether it's in education or any other new business? What could you tell them to help them just stay motivated?
You know, I think that one of the things that I do, because I am just naturally curious, and I talk to, like, when I meet people, and I travel for a living. Well, pre-COVID, I travel for a living, and I go all over the United States. I'm in schools all over the US, and I love the work that I do. And so I get to talk to people literally all over the world, highly successful people, all types of consultants, all types of business owners. And I will typically, like, ask them about when they first started out, different pieces of information. And one of the things that I would say for folks that are starting out and who are thinking about starting a business, going into this entrepreneurial journey, one of the things is that, focus on the success and not the things that can go wrong. Like, we're so easy to go down that what if lane of all the things that can go bad. What if I run out of money? What if I don't get any clients? What if? But it's always negative. Why is the what if never positive? What if I have so many clients that I have to hire some staff? What if my bank account is overflowing? What if I become so successful? What if I'm all on other people's podcasts? What if people are just calling and ringing my phone? What if I have to get a second phone line to separate my calls? Why do we always focus on the things that can go wrong and never fill our mind about the things that can go right? And so that's one of the things that, I always try to focus on. I always think about the success, the possibility, as opposed to the problems, because the problems are going to be there, but we're solution oriented people anyway. So we're going to figure out solutions, but you cannot worry and pray at the same time, because they surely cancel each other out. So when I have a problem, I ask for help. I call on the ancestors, I call on the Lord, I call on all of them. And I let it go. And I move on in my day. And I don't harbor on it. And I keep going. I keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I continue to think about the possibilities of what I'm building, the legacy that I'm creating, the possibilities, the people who I will employ, the lives that I will change, the generations that will be impacted, the uplifting of the community that I live in. And so just really focus on the possibility and don't go down the what if of all the things that can go wrong.
I think that's amazing, because you're right. We are real quick to pick up a negative, but not to think of the positives. And I always tell people, you see people all the time, right, that are just doing their thing, living in their greatness. They're making their money and they're just doing everything. And you're like, oh, I could never. It's like, but they were you once.
Right.
They were you once. They're regular people. If they can do it, you for sure can do it. And I think people don't put that in their head. They just think, oh, these people must have something I don't have. It's like, no, they just had a dream and went for it, right? Yep. Simple as that. When they failed, because they surely did, they didn't just overnight success. When they had a failure or something that didn't pan out how they wanted it to, they brushed their knees off, they got back up and they did something different and worked it out. And I think that that's the mindset we have to go into, especially as entrepreneurs, right? It's not the same as just going in, getting a check, whether you do okay, whether you do great, whatever. It's no, if you really are passionate about being an entrepreneur, if you have something to give to the world, you have to be willing to fall on your face from time to time and know that it's going to happen. And when it happens, say, okay, it's happened, it's over, and move on and keep pushing. Because I promise you, everybody else you see out here, the John Maxwells of the world and so forth, they've been there. They've done what you've done, and they just, the only difference between them and you is they're going for it, right? You said doing it scared. So if you go for it, because time's gonna keep ticking. I tell people this all the time, time's gonna keep ticking. So if you wait and say not this year, maybe next year, you're going to just miss your opportunity, because you could have already experienced the hurdles now, got them over with, and been great and been living the life you wanted to live, versus just keep putting it off out of fear, out of I don't know and what ifs. You just have to go for it and then see what amazing things will lie ahead of you. Like there's just no telling. I love that part about entrepreneurship so much, is you just never know. And it's just such an amazing experience. But look, I've kept you here for a while, but I definitely cannot let you leave without saying what products and services, ma'am, because people are already like, how do I get our information? I can feel it now. So what products and services do you offer? And then of course, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can always join my Facebook group. I am at Educators Moving On Network on Facebook and on Instagram. And I go live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. sharing strategies and tips to help you to move into educational consulting. And then I go in a couple of times a week to just do some pop-ins. I also offer a one-step accelerator for those educators who are ready to make the move, but you don't quite know what you need to do. You want to create the exit plan. The one-step accelerator will give you all of the pieces that you need. It will give you almost 40 hours of training to give you that mindset work, to give you that clarity, to help you to establish your value systems, determine your niche, and it will also show you how to put together your product, whether it's a coaching program, professional development, workshops or trainings, or an online course. So it'll show you how to put those items together, and it'll show you how to get clients, because that's always the big question. How do I get clients? And we make such a big issue out of it. It is not the issue of how to get clients. The bigger issue is, do I have a great product that gets great results? So that's what I show you how to do. And I also show you how to get clients. And you can find that on my page as well, Educators Moving On Network.
Awesome. And guys, if you're listening to the podcast, definitely you will be able to see in the info part of the podcast all of Shenelle's links if you're watching on YouTube. Hi, and it will be in the description section, so you will be able to connect with Shenelle that way. I love it. I remember when you showed me the professional development thing that you had. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I told her to make it more expensive. I'm not going to lie. I did. Because she gave everything, like she said, the exit strategy. So like, again, if you're still afraid, you have the exit strategy. Then she teaches you how to do the thing you need to do. Then she goes and teaches you how to find the client so you can make the money. I mean, she's giving you everything but the kitchen sink, guys. Like, come on. And then, she's so accessible. I love that you are very consistent with your lives. I'm like, oh, she's up here. But I will ask, what time zone are you in? You said 8 p.m.
Oh, I am in Central Time Zone. Thank you.
Because our Eastern, look, I'm an Eastern Time Zone. We only believe in Eastern. We're like, why aren't you in Eastern? I mean, that's the time that matters. So yeah, Central Time Zone, which is great. You can have dinner and then check out her lives. She's forever giving out free information, and her products are so jam-packed with information. So I would encourage you, if you're an educator in any shape or form, and you are ready to make a change and make a better impact in your life and do things on your own. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to listen to everybody telling you what to do. You don't have to clock in, clock out. You don't have to sit in the parking lot and just put on that smile. You don't have to go on these Zooms with these kids and deal with their parents. I'm so sorry. I see so many people like, oh my gosh, if one more parent asked me why their child is failing and they haven't turned in one piece of work all semester. One piece of work. But yeah, you don't have to do that. You just have to contact Shenelle and she will get you squared away. So I do want to thank you. Thank you for being up here, being such a joy, a pleasure, and giving so much information.
Well, thank you
for
having me. And anytime, and I wish all of you all the best of luck. Go for it. Bet on yourself.
I would catch that. Bet on yourself. Well, guys, with that being said, I rock, you rock, we all rock, and I will see you next time.